So in these days, yesterday and today, we're hearing a lot of words about NFT, about DAO, about blockchain, about crypto. So we want to hear a little bit more about Web3. This is a word that is putting together a lot of technologies together. We have some of the experts that exist around the island of Bali, around Indonesia. They know a lot about this topic. We want to share more, and we want to let you know what is this Web3? What is this word that everybody is using? And especially, we want to make some clear about how Web3 can help the trade in Indonesia, in which way is going to help local businesses, and what is that they can accomplish by implementing Web3 technologies inside their business. So first of all, before to start, I would like for our panelists to introduce themselves. So in this way, our audience can know who you are, what is your background, and how did you arrive into this Web3 space, and in which way you're going to make the world a better place. Words to you guys.
Thank you, Bruno, and hello, everyone. My name is Cosmin Lungu. I am the founder of Blue Agency. It's a Web3 consulting agency. Our aim is to help Web2 businesses introduce Web3 technologies. I got into the space using NFTs. I used to be an NFT consultant. I had marketing agencies helping NFT projects launched. And somewhere along the line, I transitioned towards helping businesses because that's how I feel like I can make a real impact on businesses that actually exist, that want to introduce Web3 technologies into them. A lot of them don't really understand what Web3 is, like what blockchain is and what everything is, but they want in on the hype, and they understand that blockchain is here to stay. And it's the next evolutionary step in their business, for their business to be great and better than their competitors. So yeah, that's me, and that's what I do.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Lawrence here again. So I spent my entire career in people development and the intersection between people, technology, and change. So the last few years was really helping large organizations, banks, telcos, insurance companies, FMCG on the digital transformation journey. And as part of that, I just got curious about this thing called Bitcoin. And I'm like, let's buy a few, because if I buy some, then I'll pay attention, I'll learn more. And then one day at the bank, Vitalik Buterin was there just be pre-launch, and I'm like, this Ethereum thing sounds good. Let's buy some of those. I'll pay attention. I'll learn more. So my focus for the last 7-8 years has been, how do you get leaders in big companies to understand all of these transformative new technologies? Increasingly these days, it's, I jokingly say, it's from digital transformation to Web3, NFTs, the metaverse, and beyond, to quote Buzz Lightyear. So that's really the focus, and we'll share more later.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much, Bruno, and hello to everybody. My name is Paul Henry Keifash, and it's a great pleasure for me to be here today. I'm a full-stack developer engineer. I've been in the Web3 space in crypto for quite some years now. At the start, we were very few, like 2 or 3 people in rooms like that. And now it's a pleasure to see that we're like hundreds or even thousands of people attending for crypto events. It's a great, great pleasure for me. And yeah, I'm a full-stack developer and consultant. So I consult for different crypto businesses to help them implement their tech, improve their business, and we code the tech. So yeah, it's a great pleasure, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me. It was Thomas Wolf. So I've been in the NFT space since last year, and been helping projects to go from that idea concept stage to a full launch with their community management, paid ads, and development side all covered. So I do this with my team in Bali. I'm also doing a YouTube channel where I focus on education for those people that are also new to Web3, new to crypto in general. So if you're ever in Bali, flick me a message. And yeah, my main goal is to educate and help provide services like that, and see that the impact that does is great. And events like this, great way to display it.
Thank you so much. So guys, you see, we have like 4 panelists that they are all involved in different sectors, going from education, digital transformation, helping supporting businesses, helping them to develop the coding. They're all so involved. They know so much about this space. But a lot of the people in our audience, they don't know a lot about this world. When they hear about Web3, they're going to be like surprised. What is Web3? There are people that are even talking about Web5. Would you like to make a little bit of clarity of what is Web1, Web2, and how we arrived to Web3? You decide how you want to answer this. If some of you want to start, Cosmo?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Bruno. And to everybody that doesn't really understand this Web3 concept, it's important to start from Web1. So, if we think about the early days of the internet, in Web1, we could only connect a few computers between them, and the pages were like very static. It's like a developer put a page on a server that could be accessed by another computer or by us, basically, and that was the first phase of the internet, Web1. Then platforms like Facebook and other entities like Twitter and social media and everything, they came about where pages were really interactive, where you as a user that didn't have a coding background can write something and you can post it on the internet very easily. And that's how people started to express themselves more, and they started to really bring the internet to life, so all of us can be involved. Now Web3 is the next iteration in that process, where we are both interconnected and we actually take ownership of some of that data. We can see the traces, like it's not owned by some server, by some computer anymore. We can take ownership of the data, of the blockchain. Like you see, everything becomes transparent, everything becomes hopefully interoperable. There are a lot of other advantages that start with Web3, and it's really bringing power to the user, power to the companies, and power to the people that actually create this data. It's not only owned by the companies that we feed it towards.
So this sounds great, but we've used a lot of words for this explanation. So I want to ask this question to Thomas, because you do education. If you want to explain briefly about Web3, you have a clear definition that you use with your student, with the people that you consult, that you mentor, that you coach, to make it like easy in a short phrase, what is Web3? Because the explanation was amazing. I want, to hear from your different background in which way you will define what is Web3.
Yeah, Web3 has become quite a buzzword, I guess, and different people have their own interpretations. But like Web3 now, I guess you could broadly define it as anything you're connecting your crypto wallet to, like because crypto is the overarching to Web3. So anything when connect your wallet comes up, you're entering the Web3 world, right? Web2, social media, great, lots of people becoming more social, following each other, all of that. That's like the preface to now having a wallet, the new digital currency coming in. And that's what Web3 means. Well, at least how that's my definition of Web3.
Amazing, thank you. Instead, Paul, for you, because you are a developer, we've seen that from Web 1 to Web 2, basically, there has been no technological change. You just changed the way that you've been using internet, starting from a single page where you read data to the social page where instead you are creating data and sharing them. So we're going to have a technological change in the moment we are using Web3. As a stack developer, what do you think is the change that we need to see for seeing a real Web3 implementation in our world?
Yeah, absolutely. Just as Cosmo said, the first Web 1 was a consultation web. So it was fully static. The Web 2 was an interactive web. So now you could interact, add some data, modify things, and you could really interact with people. So we started having apps, Netflix, Facebook, YouTube, etc. So people could become creators. And to me, Web 3 is really about freedom. Now it's going to enable users to have ownership of their data. It's going to enable users to create new types of apps. And so that is really Web3 in a sense where all these users will be able to have ownership of what they do. So there will be more security, there will be more privacy. So it's is changing where the power is. Before, all the big companies, YouTube, Google, Facebook, had ownership of what you had, so controlled you, and were enabled to do what they wanted with you, sell your data, etc., etc. So essentially, you were the product of the web, because as we said, if it's free, you are the product.
You are the product. That's so true.
Nobody makes things for free, right? All these companies, they make billions and billions and billions of dollars on you people, on all of us. So this is a real revolution where we are going to be enabled to go out of the system and get back some powers, us to the users. So yeah, it's a really bright future in my opinion.
Thank you. That was great. And now the question is for you, Lawrence, because you are the one that is playing with the big boys. And we know that you are the one that is helping them doing the digital transformation that is so inspired so much. So in the moment you deal with all the big players like banks or institutions that they're starting to be interested about this world, in which way you convince them, or better, you make them understand that what is happening right now is the natural evolution for their business, is the right way for them to be really in time with what is happening around them.
So, as always, where you're talking about significant change, telling them will have no impact whatsoever. You can tell them that the internet was bigger than a fax machine, and this change is going to be bigger than the internet, and it's your Kodak moment or your blockbuster video moment, and they won't get it. Because 99.9% of leaders in big companies haven't even heard of Web3, and if they have, they'll just ignore it for as long as possible. But if you can give them some form of experience where they get to understand for themselves, where they get to maybe, spend some time in the metaverse, to mint an NFT, to play with something, some dApps, and get to understand that, whoa, this is real. This is quick. This is easy. Actually, there's no more barriers to entry. Everything that has protected us as a big company for so long, now anybody can access that type of technology at such a low cost of entry and build a prototype and go out and do crowdfunding and raise money and launch quicker than we can make a decision inside our bank. That's when, and if you can take them through that experience, then you'll see the lights come on. But it has to be experiential learning. Talking and conferences and seminars, interesting, but limited impact.
Thank you so much. So let's try to change the topic a little bit, because until now we are at this Trade Expo Indonesia because we want to explain in which way blockchain is going to be used to help doing trade in Indonesia. So let's make some example. I would like to hear your opinion about this. Let's imagine that there is a traditional business that is approaching you and is asking you, hey, I would like to be more involved in this new world that is happening, but I have no idea how to do it. What is that you are going to suggest him? Or in which way you will help him or consult him to make this digital transformation that it's so needed, that it's so wanted, to result innovative also with your customer, with the people that are buying your products, that are evaluating you according to which technologies you are using. So what will you suggest to a traditional business for moving into the Web3? Like some kind of advices, just, to put sparkle in their mind to move to the next step.
So if I am to pick some really simple advice, the simplest way would be, first of all, to just do it. It's a great opportunity here that we are defining at the moment, and that any business has to more or less define for themselves. There are some best practices, like a lot of people just want to launch a coin or to launch a token or to just do something. And they think about it from a very monetary perspective because, they just want to launch something and then make money out of it, which isn't necessarily the right way. Utility and providing utility, which basically means that like you're actually providing value and giving value to your customer, is the right approach in my opinion. And a great way to do that for almost any traditional business is implementing some type of membership. So there are a lot of businesses here at Trade Expo Indonesia For example, like we saw somebody with coffee, we saw people with cigars, with shisha, with like, let's say, products that people consume on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. So almost any of these businesses, they can set up a membership program, using NFTs. And they can sell, like, let's say, 500 of these memberships yearly, where every month you give somebody, a cigar, or a kilogram of coffee, or some of these things, and for sure that you have 500 monthly buyers that you can send it to. Now, the buyers themselves, if they don't want the membership anymore, they can sell it to their cousin, they can sell it to somebody that they don't even know from the internet. So the commodity trading becomes, there's another level introduced to something that they've been used to for so long, maybe even if they have memberships or not. And from here, the possibilities are endless towards what actual value can bring to users, and towards what these memberships and what these purchasers products that, like, you started to sell, become more and more digital, but backed maybe by physical assets or just digital assets. Their opportunities are endless, and 99% of the businesses can start implementing them today.
Okay. So the next question, I would like to have it for Thomas. So Thomas, we know that when a traditional business want to move to Web3, there is a big problem that there are people, they have no idea what is Web3. What would you suggest to a business for helping their community, their customer, to implement this new technology? What would you suggest for them to do? What is the right step for making sure that their audience will be prepared from the educational point of view?
Yeah. So I've talked to a few different kinds of businesses, and usually the first step is like, how does an NFT make sense to what they are already doing? So they're not, jumping like into a completely new industry, or saying like it will have the best chance if they already have familiarity with it. So figuring out how it can make sense of their business. Memberships, as said, is a great one that can work in many kind of product offerings. So membership is certainly something that can be discussed. They tell me about how they foresee it working for themselves as well, so that I can figure out what exact kind of targeting audience to go for. Yeah, pretty much like that.
Thank you. And Lawrence, from what we've been hearing until now, we understand that the Web3 is more user-centered compared to the Web2, that instead it's more caring only about collecting data or selling to the user whatever it is. We're starting to understand that Web3, the user starts to become the center of everything, is the one that needs to be covered in attention. What would you think that big business should do for covering this aspect and make sure that their audience, their users are gonna feel, cuddled, they're gonna feel, part of something and not just used by the company?
So I think there's two really important aspects to what you're talking about. The first is, as always, start with the customer. What are the jobs to be done for the customer? What problems are you trying to solve for the customer? And if you look at it, there's always a lot of cost and friction and middlemen and disintermediation between you and the customer. And sometimes you're the big bank and you're the source of those costs, right? So the good news about Web3 is you can potentially cut out a lot of the friction, a lot of the middlemen. Now, of course, if you're the middleman, that's really bad news. So you can either be in denial for as long as possible, or you can innovate faster than your competition. But somebody on another panel earlier said something I think was very profound and very relevant, which is it's no longer the people serving the systems. We're now at the stage where Web3 can serve the people. And I think, I spend years in banking. If you look at banks, most of the people in banks are either entering data, checking the data somebody else entered, double checking the data that the other person entered that the other person checked. It's legal, it's compliance, it's shuffling paperwork, it's bureaucracy. Most of those people are not actually doing human jobs. They're doing jobs that should be better automated and can be automated. And there's always a fear that, oh, I'm going to lose my job because of automation. Well, recent Harvard Business School review of the top 10 business transformations of the last decade, every single one of those companies increased headcount and revenue and profitability and productivity because they use technology to automate everything that could be automated and use people to do what people do best, which is have relationships and serve customers and get closer. So I think the beauty of Web3 is that it can actually create more human workplaces. However, to your earlier question, how do you start this? Before you start buying technology, the first thing to do, get the management team, take them on an offsite, give them a couple of days of experiential learning on Web3, build what I call the digital mindset. This is a new world we're living in. It's not quite the metaverse yet, but it is a new world. There's new language, there's new mental models, there's new ways of thinking. If your management team don't have that literacy, the consultants will come in and sell them stuff they don't need for money they shouldn't be wasting. And if you're an employee in that company, the first thing you should want is your leaders to be really smart, because the decisions they make are about the future, your job, your pension, and your kids' college fund. So digital literacy at the top, that's where you start. And then you solve the customer problems.
Nice. Well said. Well said. Everything is so true. And it's amazing to hear this phrase. Before were the people serving the system, and now is the system serving the people. So beautiful. It's so great. Thank you so much for sharing also the words of the previous panel. And Paul, instead, what do you think that a traditional business should do from the technological point of view? Because you are a programmer, you're a stack developer, you are the one that they should speak with in the moment they want to implement a new technology. So what would you suggest to them? In which way do you think they should start to move their steps to being able to start to show that they are implementing a new technology? Because we know that in the moment you need to implement something new, there's going to be cost. But of course, or you can do everything all at once and spend thousands and thousands of dollars to have everything brand new, or you can move a little bit at the time, slowly, so that in this way also your people are going to be aware about what you're doing. So what do you think should be the first step that the business should make to make sure that it's moving in the right direction for innovation?
I really love you guys, really, because one thing you all had in your mouth, one thing you all said, adding value. And this is the number one thing we need to do. Nobody cares about Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, NFT, blockchain, any of this stuff. This is all what we call buzzwords. The only thing that we people need to do together is add value in people's lives. And this is my mantra. This is really what I believe. And this is what I believe why I love Web3 so much, because I think it's adding value to people's lives. Well, and because people get it on the wrong way. People want to make millions on other people. But no, that's not the way. Add value into people's lives. Add value into the users' lives, and they will be happy to give you millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, even if you want, if you really add some great value in their life. Because we need to understand smart contracts, something as easy as smart contracts, the incredible power that you can have. Before, so if I need to talk a bit about tech, but before you had what we call contracts. So you had a judge, you had somebody that needed to enforce the law. But now we have what we call code is law. Now the code is law. When someone, for example, you can take an idea of a farmer in Indonesia or anywhere in the world, and he has a farm, and now he needs to go to an insurance company, get an insurance. He needs to drive there, and he needs to talk for hours and hours and read the contract and understand it. And it's complicated, and he needs to come back and stuff. It's a lot of work. But now we can do all of this automated on the internet, and the code would be low. So you go on the internet, on the insurance company platform, you subscribe, you just send, for example, Ethereum every month directly from your wallet to the insurance company. And for example, you have what we call oracles that are going to monitor the heat in your sector. And for example, if 3 days in a row, it's been more than 35 degrees, it means that your crops have died. And if the crops have died, the contract automatically delivers you your money from the insurance. So you can do incredible systems thanks to these smart contracts, totally automated. Before, you needed an enormous insurance company with thousands of people. Now, one smart contract on the blockchain, everything is done. So imagine the power that we have today in our hands. We are the builders of tomorrow. Everything that we can build, the possibilities are endless. Really, it's incredible.
Amazing. I love this thing of giving value because I think that this is the real game changer at the moment. We want to finally give value to people and not to take from the people. I know this might sound a little bit socialist and communist, but at the end, this is the beauty of this, is that we want to bring, equality in this world. We want to bring more balance. We want people to feel empowered and not used. And I really think that with Web3, with crypto, with blockchain, we can make this step come true. We can make all of this come true because in the world there is a lot of disparity. We can see that there is the first world, second world, third world, but at the end it's all something depending on the technology that they are using, which way they are treating their people, and which tools they are using. So because today we are here talking about trading and in which way blockchain Web3 is gonna help to do trade, I would like to hear from you some example, if you have any, if you have in your experience interact with some kind of traditional business that moved to Web3 and what is that they did. So I think this way you easier can get some inspiration coming from Web2 or traditional business that have already made the step of moving from the Web2, from the traditional way of doing business, of storing data on paper, and instead now they are doing things in a different way. If you want, I can start. I can give you an example that I heard around. There is this guy that I met in Bali, and they're able to give microloan to farmer. So before we were hearing the guys from Indoverse, they were saying that for giving a loan to farmer, they were able to put as an NFT how much they were able to grow and collect at the end of the year, and in this way they could get loan. I heard about this guy from Java that instead, you know what he's doing? He's taking an image from the satellite of the land of the farmer. They're putting this image on the blockchain. They're able to calculate how much they're able to produce in a year. And according to this statistic, they're giving to them microloan. And they're helping in this way 35,000 farmers today. This is amazing. It's a huge number for farmers that right now they don't have any possibility of reaching the banks and receiving a loan because they don't have anything as collateral. While instead this guy is putting their land on the blockchain, and in this way there is something that can be used as the collateral. It's their land. So I think that this is amazing because the guy is really helping local economy and is helping small farmer to survive, but also to grow their business and to become something bigger than they were before. So I'm gonna leave the word to each one of you. If you have something to share, would be great because we are here for promoting trading in Indonesia and we wanna push them and help them to use this new technology and making sure that they really do it in an innovative way. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And just to take it back into farming, because there are a lot of farmers in Indonesia, and actually one of my clients has a farm in France. It's a wine farm, like basically they make wine, and it's a small capacity where they can make only 800 of bottles of wine per year. But it's like really good wine. And a thing that he couldn't do before blockchain is to basically create NFTs where each bottle of wine is an NFT, and then he puts it on the blockchain and he can store the bottle for you. So for example, you can buy the 2022 bottle of wine, and then he stores it for you until you want it delivered, and you still have to pay the delivery fee and everything. But imagine like now, the person that buys it at launch, the person that buys it like every autumn, they can hold it in the winery and then they can trade it. People can trade the title of the wine bottle between them as NFTs. He earns a royalty percentage every time the bottle is traded. The bottle, as it ages, goes up in value. So he's getting more and more money every year. It's not a game of like, okay, I sell the wine bottle and people just do business between them and the farmer gets nothing. Now the farmer can get a royalty for every time they actually sell the bottle, and they actually hold it. They get a charge for holding the bottle and everything. The bottle doesn't have to leave his seller, and it becomes better and better for the farmer, can earn more and more money. And this concept can go into Gucci bags, they can go into high-end fashion, they can go into a lot of things that have a very limited supply, 2, 8, 500, 2000 or whatever. It's very intriguing for the small farmers and for the small producer. Exclusivity is a great deal, and it's something that blockchain can do easily to digitalize assets for people.
That's amazing. Really amazing, this idea. Thank you so much for sharing.
I'm gonna take on that, and I'm gonna take one of my own examples. A few weeks ago, I was back in Paris because I'm moving to Bali. Actually, I'm selling everything in Paris. Moving to Bali, incredible. I love Indonesia. I'm staying here now. It's my home. But so the thing is, I was in Paris, and there was this hackathon, Web3 hackathon organized by HEC, one of the biggest business schools and tech schools in France, and Tezos blockchain. They were organizing a Web3 hackathon, and actually we went there with my team and we won the most creative idea at the hackathon. So yeah, I was really happy, and that's the thing that's interesting. In a few days, we were able to really build something that in my hands, I think, has a lot of value. And that is where we leverage Web3. So the thing is, what we created is a company called Ideas. And the thing is, we're enabling people with ideas to come and post their ideas on the platform. People on after some people, so the community is going to vote for the best ideas. So are going to invest a little bit of money, and at the end of the week, the idea with the most money is going to be selected as idea of the week. And on the other side, what we're doing, we're leveraging Open Tezos, which is the Tezos documentation, and we're taking people that have no jobs, that want to change jobs, that are just interested in the space, etc. We're enabling them to learn how to develop. So we're training them to become developers, and we're actually paying them, which we wouldn't be able to do in the Web2 space. And now, thanks to the blockchain and thanks to Web3, because of the coins that we're able to sell and how the business model that we're able to build in Web3, we're able to incentivize people to come and learn development.
They are cutting us out.
And so every week we're matching the best developers with the best projects. So we're pushing out great projects on the Tezos blockchain every week. So, and we built that in 2 days, and now we're getting grants for multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars for that ideas. So the thing is, with Web3, we can build new business model to leverage that and to create new things for the future that are even better than what we had before. That was impossible before, but we can really build some new things that are really interesting now.
Guys, I would like to hear also your opinion, but they're making me sign that we have 0 minutes.
Go out.
We cannot do it anymore. But this is the moment to take a picture as a memory. We take a picture first, all of us, and then we call those 2 amazing guys that are the co-host of the day to take a picture with us as well. Guys, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so much.
today, for everything that you've been
Round of
sharing.
applause.